Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, depending where you are. Hi, welcome to Juhl Media live streaming podcast from New York City. Thanks for tuning in. My name is Ching Juhl. Chinese name is called Chen Qing. Since the pandemic lockdown, I have hosted about 224 live podcast episodes. Today, I'm going to talk about music, how I raised my son, who is 23 and the youngest musician in the Pittsburgh Symphony. Now, let's rewind back a bit. I'll tell you a little bit about myself. I am an educator. I am also a filmmaker. And I have been playing the viola for many, many years. I can't even count. And right now, I'm holding a violin. And there's a reason behind that. It's because my son has my good viola, and also I am also have some hand problem with my hand, so it's difficult to play the viola. I have an echo going on right now. Sorry about that. Now, so rewind back to how I learned play the violin. When I was 7 years old, I played played the piano with my mom because my mom is a professional pianist. And then at about 11 years old, I was watching my neighbor play the violin. And I was like, oh, that is a much easier instrument to play because there's only one line of music to learn. So I told my mom I want to play the violin. And so from then, since 11 years old, which is a little late to play the string instrument, considering lots of professional violinists doing it a little bit earlier than that. I'm lowering down my microphone because I was playing a little bit, but when you talk, you should put your microphone closer to you. And yeah, so I played the violin, and in those days when I was playing the violin, there was very little other activity to do, such as sports, such as chess, swimming, tennis. Like today's world, today's kids have so many choices, right? So I had not too much choice. So I just play the violin. My mom said I would just go home after school and I finish all the schoolwork at school. So I can just walk home. My mom said I directly walk to my violin case and just practice for 3 hours every day. So, and very shortly, about I would say when I was like 15 years old, I joined the Shanghai Youth Orchestra. And in the youth orchestra, right, I was a violinist. So I saw, the viola for the first time. So I was like, what is a viola? So I was very curious about what is a viola. So every time when we have a break, I would go to bother the principal violist. I said, "Can I try your instrument?" So he was really kind enough to let me play his viola. So after I don't know several months, and I went to the conductor. I say, "Look, I can play the viola." So the conductor actually has an extra viola, and he lent it to me. I still remember his name. His name is Liu Jie, Liu Lao Shi. So that's how I became a violist, just because I was curious about the instrument, and I was also fascinated by the sound because viola sound, although it's only 5 notes lower than the violin, but it's so much deeper, so much closer to the human voice. So I was really touched by that. So then my mom find me a really great teacher. That's another story. My mom was riding bicycle on the street, Shanghai. Those days we don't have taxi, right? There's not a whole lot of transportation choices. So my mom riding bicycle and then met a old schoolmate of her, my mom's. And mom said, "Can you teach my daughter violin?" And this person, her name is Shen Xidi, Xidi Shen. Um, she happens to be now is one of the most prestigious, most famous viola teacher in China. So my mom said, "Can you teach my daughter violin?" And then she said, "I don't teach violin. I teach viola." So it's all very coincidence. I was already interested in viola, and then I found a really great teacher. So I started to play the viola, and about 2 years later, I auditioned for a Chinese military orchestra, and I won the audition. So at 17, I left home and went to Beijing and joined orchestra. So these are just a little background for me, how I started to play and why I switched to viola. Now, then after that, in the army, in orchestra, there was not a whole lot of music. Like the orchestra is very primitive. We basically, let's say, company singers, and we play in the orchestra company dancers. I only remember we played once Haydn Symphony, so that's the only sort of classical music training, I would say, during the army orchestra. But one thing about being in the military is that it is one of the most, for me personally, is a very good way of training myself and controlling myself because in general, I'm pretty free spirited. I say things how I feel, and I can get into trouble if I'm not, careful. But in the military, you have to be right. You have to listen to your authorities, and you have to behave. So in that sense, I was in a very good sort of training ground, and that is helpful. Yeah. Anyway, so long story short, eventually, I left the military and thinking I was going to come to the United States to study because I got scholarships from three schools. The number one is Curtis Institute, which is one of the most famous music school in the world. Has very small, what do you call acceptance. Every year they accept like one violist, two violists, and so I was accepted in, that's a long time ago, early 80s. So, but I did not really understand. I did not know it's such a prestigious school. So I did not come to the United States because I didn't have a financial backers. So I couldn't make it anyhow. And then I left the army thinking I was going to the United States, and then come to Shanghai, back to Shanghai. I was born in Shanghai, and went back to Shanghai and practiced, my butt off. And for about 6 months, I practiced 6 hours every single day. I remember like 2 hours in the morning, 2 hours in the afternoon, 2 hours in the evening, and then yeah, and then got into the Shanghai Conservatory of Music. So after that, and 4 years of training and 4 years of studying, and yeah, that was a really great time. I met so many wonderful classmates. I still kept in touch with some of my very early schoolmates, like Vivian Xu, still my best girlfriend in New York now. It's from my class. She's amazing. And also in school, I made some wonderful other subject, like they're in different department, like a violin maker. And D is also Tao D's one of my best friend at the time, and she actually is the one. I see some young guy. Hey, Dr. Jinsen is here, and Sherry is here, Sue is here, Dr. J is here. Hey, Kenneth. Kenneth, I'm still waiting for, I think, your email. I haven't seen the email. So Kenneth is a viola colleague, and he's also very involved with the uh, United States Viola Congress and Viola World. Yeah. So where was I? Oh, okay. So yeah. Um, I was talking about D Tao. Oh, welcome to New York City. This outside is like some kind of siren going on. Di Zhao actually introduced me to Andrew Yan. So that's another story. Okay. So, yeah. So where I was. So I came to the United States finally after I finished my study at Shanghai. Then did my master's degree in Indiana University. And I'm very lucky. I was able to study with 5 different teachers at IU. The reason was because I have to continuously stay in Indiana University. At the time, I had a really, really awful visa. It's called J1 visa. That visa is kind of like a sentence of after you study, you have to go back to your own country at least for 2 years. So it's a way of preventing people want to stay here, right? It's a bonding between governments of the United States and any country. If you have J1, you got to go back. So I had a J1 after I finished my study. Then I stayed in school, so I became a professional student. Studied with my first teacher is a wonderful George Youngster. He used to play with the Grumio trio with his wife Eva Youngster, and he's such a gentleman, such a beautiful natural player, and I learned so much just by watching him. And then Youngster retired. Then Kim Kashkashian took over, and Kim Kashkashian considered now is the I would say one of the best viola virtuosos in 20th century or this century. Yeah. So she was amazing. And I basically had no idea like who she was. I just because she inherited George Johnson's studio, so I was so lucky just to be her student and learn so much from her, even just in 1 year time. Yeah, after she left, and I studied with Csaba Elde, another Hungarian. George Johnson's Hungarian. Csaba is a Hungarian. Csaba really had a huge impact on me, and philosophically, not just playing the viola. I remember 1 year there was a poster in school says Girona International Viola Competition in Brazil. So at the time, I was just still very primitive. Coming from China in those days, we do not travel, right? We do not have money to travel. So the idea of going to Brazil to play a competition is not in my vocabulary. So, but Chava said, you should go. I said, I'm not going. I'm not going to win. And he said, all I want is for people to hear you. You need to be heard. Don't think about anything else. So, and then I said like, oh, my viola is so bad. And Chava said, oh, your viola is it's not good enough. You cannot play a competition on this viola because it's a Chinese viola I brought from China. I think I bought it for $50. No, it's not a bad viola. It's just like it's small. It doesn't have a big sound. So I said to Chaba, I said I don't have money, and Chaba said another phrase I always remember. Chaba said, Chaba LD, okay, ERDLYI. Chaba said, if you really want money, money will come. Isn't that interesting? So so I borrowed $5,000 from my landlord. I was staying with Joe. Joe, it's not really my landlord. I stay there, cook for Joe, and then I get the lodging for free. But I still call him my landlord. So I borrowed money from Joe, $5,000, and bought a brand new viola. The viola was even white. When I went to visit the viola maker, which is John Covenhaven. He was in New Jersey then. Now he lives in Connecticut. So I saw the viola is white, and it's also kind of very inexperienced me because usually when you buy a viola, when you buy instrument, you want to buy a little bit older instrument, not brand new, because instrument takes time to break in. But since I really don't have any experience, so yeah, and John sold a lot of violas to Indiana students. So I bought one from him. And then I went to Jean Pessoa, Brazil. And it was very interesting. we passed, you have to send the tape in first. Um, I don't know how many tapes they send. So they accept 12 people who are this like a, what do you call that? Second round. Yeah. Is it second round? 12 violists that went there. I believe the competition paid for our trip. I believe. Yeah. So we went there and then we played the round. Yeah, I think the semifinal. Yeah, semifinal. And then I made it into the next round. Um, and finally, I think there's a four people in the final. That was August 1988, I believe. Yeah. So four people in the final, and I was watching other people playing semifinal, right, in the audience. Which is not a good idea. When you have audition, you should not watch other people to play because you'll get nervous. You start to compare yourselves to other people, right? I would not recommend you watch other people's playing while you're doing competition unless you finished. Then you can go. So I watched other people. I was like, oh, I was very confident. I was very confident. Yeah. I was like, I'm gonna win this thing. Yeah. So so unfortunately, that night, we were fed really nice meal, like shrimp and anything else and other things. So there must be something in the shrimp, right? It's really bad. Or I was being poisoned. I'm just kidding. I started to after the dinner, I start to feel really, sick. And and in the middle of the night, I vomited and just one thing after another. So in the morning, when I woke up at 6 o'clock or 7 o'clock, and I was like, I couldn't even walk very straight because I was so tired. I was so sick. So I remember I was walking steps, either down or up, so to the hall, and then my final was 9 o'clock in the morning. So I played my final, and obviously I probably looked a little bit tired. I could have done a little better than that, but still, I won $10,000. Yeah, $10,000. I've never seen so much money in my whole life because they gave us like dollars. I hope the IRS is not listening to me right now. Again, they're gonna make me pay taxes. They they gave us like $10, give me $10 a stack of $100, and then so we'll just counted the money, and then the first winner, Karen won 15,000. She's the first winner, and I was the second one. And then Karen put the money on her bed, and she just lay on the bed, and I don't remember. I don't think I have like a camera. So those days we don't have social media, right? And so she probably took a picture of herself laying on the bed and whatever. So that's a very interesting experience. So this also leads to another story, which is not directly to this subject today, which we'll talk about music, is that I used $10,000. First of all, return $5,000 viola money I bought from Joe. I borrowed from Joe, and Joe said, "Oh, you have a good record. You have a good credit. You can borrow money from me in later." And then I also bought my first video camera with the rest of the money. And I think I also bought like a $2,000 bowl. So probably my camera is anywhere, I don't know, maybe under $1,000. I don't remember exactly. Yeah. But those days, the video cameras are really big, right? Uses like different kind of tapes than today. So yeah. So looking back, two two things Chaba said to me is still stuck in my head. Okay, says you need to be heard. That's very important. Yeah, don't think about too much other results. Yeah, you need to be heard. I also interpret that as show up. Show up is very important. Yeah, to anything. Show up to someone's funeral. Show up to a dinner party. Show up at somebody's recital. Show up. And thank you guys for showing up right now. I really appreciate you. So you need to be heard. And then if you really want money, money will come. Isn't that interesting? Yeah. So eventually, after Indiana days, I was able to work is because June 4th, June 4th is coming soon. June 4th, 1989, June 4th is a Tiananmen Square massacre. That event causes the Bush administration gave Chinese people a break. So I was able to stay in this country without the rule of 2 year, go back to your own country for 2 year and come back again. So I started to practice really hard and then got my first so-called professional job at the Phoenix, Arizona, Phoenix Symphony. That's where I played for 7 years there. So now I wanted to tell you also something very important is quitting is good. Starting is good, finish is good, but quitting is good too. So I was in Phoenix. People who are listening right now, a lot of my friends on Facebook, maybe they listen, and I wasn't very happy in Phoenix. A few reasons. One is the environment. The city is very hot, very dry. In those days, to me, is not enough culture going on. So I was feeling feeling just kind of lost in this big city. Everywhere you go, you have to drive. Um, and musically also, it was not a challenge to me because the music director, when I first started with, who's not a first rate, I would say. Yeah. So so I was like, after so many years of training, I ended up in this orchestra and playing music under such leadership. And it was very disappointing. So I always wanted to leave. I remember I was wearing a bracelet, like a sort of kind of like an Indian themed kind of a bracelet. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna wear this bracelet. I will not take it off until I get next step, which means another job. But winning orchestra job is super difficult. Yeah, I auditioned for let's see, I remember Portland, San Diego, San Francisco, what else? Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh. I actually made to Pittsburgh final. Yeah, that's the most what do you call accomplishment I reached. Um, so anyhow, where was I? Yeah, so I was in Phoenix for about 7 years, and then I said I need to move. I need to leave. I'm quitting. So I came to New York City because I love New York. Every time I come to New York City, I love it. I said like I belong to here. So I moved to New York, 24 years ago, uh, with nothing, no job, no nothing. Yeah. So, but I made it. I made it. So back to the subject of my son. So now, isn't that interesting? My son, who is 23 years old, and now is a member of Pittsburgh Symphony. Yeah, I only made it to the final, and I played with the Pittsburgh Symphony a little bit, like as a substitute. Yeah, that was 1993. That's a long time ago. Oh my god. So, yeah. Oh, I want to acknowledge some people here. Thank you. Dr. Jules is here. Sean's dad and my husband is here. Sue, Sue is watching from her big screen. Oh, your television screen is so good. I want one too. So clear, very, very good resolution and great color. Yeah. Who else? Thank you, Kenneth. And thank you, Dr. Jensen. And we canvassed together in Iowa. And there's so many great stories. I can tell you later. We're all young again. Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much. And Shark Fin, 你好吗? Shark Fin, how are you? Thank you for being with me. Thank you for your support always. And yeah, if you guys have any questions, just write in the chat, okay? Also, 22100. Hi, 22100. What's your name? Anyone from Shanghai feels at home in your city. That's true. That's true. I'm your alumni from Shanghai Girls' School. Oh, Tutu, is that we had a lunch the other day with all the Shanghai Third Street Girls' School. Yeah, actually, we were able to find like there is a what do you call WeChat group with lots of old schoolmates. Now, Shanghai is a very cosmopolitan city, right? Long time ago, and also now, and long time ago, the Shanghai third ladies girls school is very prestigious. You have to have a really good score, very good grade to get in, and at old days, you have to have a lot of money to be able to study there because the tuition is very expensive. But at my era, we all went to third school, 是三女中, the third school, because where we live just belong to the school location, the district, whatever you call. So, and then during Cultural Revolution, the girls' school became boy and girl sharing the school. So it's not an exclusive girls' school. But now they have get back to the girls' school. So it's so now I think it's also a very prestigious school. Yeah. So that mention that. Oh, thank you so much. So where was I? Oh, so New York, New York. Yeah. So I came to New York and eventually eventually, I guess, I had my son. I got married first, I guess. Of course, I get married and I had my son. And I just want to talk a little bit about Sean Juhl's journey. It's too bad right now he is not here. He's performing with the Pittsburgh Symphony right now. I even text him now because can you join me? And he's at my mom in the concert hall. So yeah, I wanted to, I think the most sort of accomplishment in my life is raise a good musician. And regardless if he's playing the Pittsburgh Symphony or somewhere else, because I think the number one thing is to love music and to be a how do you say to be a appreciation, to be a good audience as well. Yeah, not only you play music, you have to be a good listener and to appreciate music. So in that sense, I think I did a very good job of raising a musician and music lover. So how did Sean started play? And I started him when he was 4 years old. I actually studied Suzuki violin teaching method when I first came to New York. There's a school called School for Strings. They train violin teachers to understand Dr. Suzuki's method. Who is Suzuki? Suzuki is this Japanese educator in 70s. He invented this his method that he believes all children can learn music as young as 2 years old. So his method is kind of a very interesting. He would at the beginning encourage the parents, usually the mother, uh, come to study first, and then later on, because he believed if the childcare do not know how to play the violin for very young children, it's very difficult for the children to learn at home. So, and also Suzuki's method is also one of it is in today's world they don't really like this method. In one element is that Suzuki method is played by ear. They don't let you read music until very late. So now the current method of Suzuki is they let you to read music, like when you're 8 years old or something. So that's a one improvement. But anyhow, so I studied Suzuki violin. So I gave Sean a box violin to play when he was 4 years old. And eventually, Sean was very lucky. He won an audition in New York City. So in New York City, okay, you think educational system is really crappy, right? Well, there actually is a very good music school. It's called Special Music School of America, and that school is open to 5 boroughs of resident. If you're, belong to Manhattan, Brooklyn, Bronx, Staten Island, and Queens, you can all audition for the school. However, the year we auditioned, that was a long time ago, to 2005, 2004, and they only accept 15 people. Yeah, 1 year. So you can see how uh, competition is very, very rigorous. So Sean won the audition. So we just lucked out, I think. But speaking of lucked out, maybe it's not really true. I started to bring Sean to concerts when he was like infant, like few months old. I would take him to the outdoor concert in Lincoln Center. I'll take him to noon concert in universities. To this day, John Gerlach, and still I run into John Gerlach here and there. He is the director for Rockefeller University, has a noon concert series. So one day I brought Sean with me, and Sean was sleeping, and he was tiny, like I don't know, 2 months old or something, and he was in my on my chest with a baby beyond. So I walked into the concert, and the John got really nervous. He said, "No, no, 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 baby, no, baby." So okay, okay. So and eventually, after the like intermission, we went in and we sat in the back, and Sean did not make one noise. So to this day, John Gerlach still remembers Sean. Said, "Oh my God," So he'll come to Juilliard to some of in other students' recital, and so that was really nice. So exposure. I think it's very important to let your children to go to live performances. It doesn't have to be the violin performance. It can be piano recital, can be street. Yeah, we will stop at a musician play on the street of Manhattan. In subway, we will stop, we'll watch, and then we'll give them, some tips. So Sean actually got a lot of dosage of listening to music. And I remember when I first came to New York, I didn't have a performance job, and I did not think I can get into New York Philharmonic, right? Let's face it, it's one of the top five orchestra in United States. Very difficult to get in. So I formed my own string trio called Jade String Trio, and so I remember we were rehearsing in our apartment in Manhattan, and Sean was tiny, right? So we would just put Sean in the middle of us, three of us, and we rehearse. We probably rehearse like 3 times a week, yeah. And Sean was listening to us, so in the very very early. So what I'm talking about is early exposure is very important, yeah. So I'm talking so much. Uh, Hi, 雪兰，你好。And I'm talking so much. How about I'll share with you a little video? I have prepared quite a few videos. Let me see. Oh, okay. Yeah, let's see. So let me know if you can see it. Okay. Now, this is a 10 years old Sean playing a pretty fast piece. It's called B by Schubert. It's Franz Schubert. It's not Franz Schubert. It's another Schubert. So can you see, Sean? Can you hear? Let me play, okay? Okay, let me know. Dr. Juhl, can you hear? Okay. Yeah, so that's, Sean, already 10 10 years old. I have another videos playing. Okay. So so what I wanted to talk about is, one very important thing is having great teachers. So I'm very grateful for all the teachers Sean had, and I am just a facilitator. Since 5 years old, Sean started to study at the special music school with Victor Bossis. Victor Bossis is this Russian teacher. The whole school is a Russian system. Okay, special music school. They started in 1996 with Russian teachers. They asked the state, the city of New York, say, how come we don't have a school like Russia where Russians have music school for children very young age. Also, China has Fuxiao has a primary music school for young students in China, right? And it's free. So, so special music teachers they also are sponsored. The school was sponsored by Kaufman Center. Kaufman Center is a very strong Jewish background art center. They're into music, they're into theater, they're into singing. Yeah, so it's a very strong culture institute. They're situated right behind Lincoln Center on 67th Street on Broadway. So, so Dr. Bosses, Mr. Bosses, was very like a sergeant. He's a drill. He was so strict, and he criticized Sean all the time, which it's in my alley because when I was learning music in China, our teachers are very strict. Teacher in China and in Russia, I think I have a same mentality. Is they do not compliment you a lot. They constantly say how much you need to improve, right? So I'm not sure this method compared to the Western world, especially United States, is such a great way of raising young children. But it worked for us. Yeah, it worked for us. Sean was used to being very strict, and so yeah, Mr. Bosses was like very but he also trained Sean so well, yeah. So this is a very funny, there is a very funny, video, I'll show you, and let's see, um, so let me find this for you. It's a very funny video I show to you, okay? Yeah, okay, so this one. Okay. So you can see that's Mr. Bosses. He is playing the left hand and Sean is playing the right hand. Hey, Vivian is here. Hi. That was Sean. He was 9 years old. And I was just talking about Vivian earlier about my school conservatory years, schoolmates. Now also is my best friend in New York City. So it's amazing. We kept in touch with so many years. That's just very precious, right? So and Vivian watched Sean from very early age, when Sean was like, yeah, Vivian came to our baby shower first, and then Sean's 1 year birthday, and and so on, and yeah. So anyway, thank you so much, Vivian, to be here. So I was talking about education, right? Very lucky. So Mr. Bosses was so strict, and but he really know how to train young kids. So the reason I talk about good teacher is also I wanted to share something with you that how do you pick good teacher? That's another thing. Well, since I play the violin and play the viola, right? So I have to give myself a lot of credits to pick good teachers for Sean, my son. The reason I find Mr. Bosses was when you apply for school like that, the school like that, or even Juilliard, they always say which teacher you want. They have a list of teachers. Yeah. But I had no idea who is good at special music school in those days. So I would just go during the school recital time, right? Because they have recital from time to time. And I would go to the recital time and then I go in there to watch string players to play. Sometimes the recital is a mixed class. Sometimes it's just the one class, meaning only one teacher has their own students. So I went to I believe I went to a mixed recital and I sat there and watched all the kids play. You probably in like one recital, you probably see maybe 12, 15 people play because they all play short pieces. And I noticed like how come like these students, like half of the students, their postures, their sound, they're just so much better than others, you know? Then I look at their program. It says teacher, or the teacher name is under these students. So I was like, who is this Mr. Bosses? So, and I don't really know him. But so when I have to fill the form, I just picked Mr. Bosses without knowing him. I didn't say hello to him. I don't think I went to contact him, say, can we study with you? I just filled the form, say, I want to study. We want to study with Mr. Bosses. Yeah. Victor Bosses. So that's how I picked from by watching. And then so Sean, as Sean at 12 years old, either 12 or 13, he 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 had last minute. He didn't prepare. He last minute he went to did a test for Hunter College High School, which is another public school. Is supposed to be like one of the best schools in New York City. It's very progressive. It's very hard to get in. When you are like kindergarten, you have to pass, 97, 98 score, IQ score, whatever. So I think Sean did not pass when he was like 5 years old. So when he was 12 and he took the uh, test without even preparation, which is amazing because people actually go to Queens to take courses of how to pass Hunter College high school examination. It's a big deal. So Sean went, and he got in. He got into Hunter, and not that I'm bragging about Sean. It's like, oh, I am. Sean actually was the only person from his class um, got into Hunter College High School. Yeah. So he went to Hunter. So that means he left music school. So after that, he studied with another marvelous teacher, Joey Corpus. Now, how do we know Joey Corpus? I studied with Joey Corpus when I first came to New York. He was this amazing violinist. He's from Filipino. He doesn't he is what do you call handicap. He sat on wheelchair to teach you, but he can play beautifully, you know. So Joey taught Sean for 2 years. Yeah. And then Sean moved on to he got into Manhattan School of Music as a violin student, I believe. Yeah, violin student. Yeah. There's another story here. Oh gosh, there's so many stories. So Sean first. Oh, Vivian said the first time I met Sean was when he was a few weeks old. You brought him in a basket to our lunch at the French roast. Still a vivid memory. So sweet. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. So that's true. So I have assistant sitting here making noise. Um So where was I? Uh, and yeah, oh yeah. So the story of Sean, how he became a violist. Okay, so Sean, please, if you watch this, please don't get mad at mommy. Um, I think when Sean was 13, he auditioned for Juilliard pre-college as a violinist. Yeah, and he did not make it. So when he did not make it, I sat down with him and so I said, Sean, you need to consider play the viola. Why? Because I play the viola. I have all the viola repertoire and the CDs, and your grandma plays the viola. Yeah. How did my his grandma? The grandma is a step grandma. Okay, not the biologic grandma. Biologic grandma is a pianist. So my mom married to my viola teacher. She did. So I told Sean. I said, "Your grandma is a violist. I am a violist." So Sean reluctantly switched to viola at 14 years old. Yeah, and then another story is that you really need to let your kid just let them loose. Let them loose. So what does that mean? Um, I talked to Sean's music teacher at Hunter College High School has this amazing an amazing violinist and also conductor and music teacher. His name is Michael Stratachek. And I asked him, remember when Sean was 13, I said, do you have any recommendation for Sean to go to a music camp this summer? And he recommended King Haven Music School. He went to King Haven himself. So, so I sent Sean to King Haven, right? And at his age, Sean can go to a 6 week session, and Sean doesn't want to go. You know, I said, no, you have to go. Yeah, we already registered. We ought to get partial scholarship. You got to go. So again, Sean reluctantly went to King Haven, which is in Vermont. It's in a town called Weston. The entire Weston is so small that the only thing the kids can do is go to a store. It's called Vermont Country Store, which has like so many great stuff there. You know, you can actually order a catalog from Vermont Country Store, and has like a clothing, accessories, honey, soap, you know, anything you can think of, shoes, you know. So it's a very interesting, organically kind of store, you know. So Sean went there for 6 weeks, right? So I went to visit him at the fourth week and the fifth week, yeah. And guess what? That is a turning point for Sean, I think. So he was giving me a tour of the summer camp. He said to me, he said, Mom, I'm serious about music. I still remember that. I'm serious about music. So why? Well, he was in Hunter College High School. They have orchestra. The level is slightly different, right? When you go to a summer camp, all the wind player, brass players, so good. The string players are so good. So he first time he was exposed to play Mahler Symphony, yeah, Bach Brandenburg, Beethoven Seven, yeah, Strauss symphony uh, poem. I mean, he was blown away how orchestra sounds can be so wonderful. And also they play string quartet, yeah, Beethoven string quartet, Mozart string quartet, all kinds of chamber music. So, and then when you are in summer camp like that, you meet other kids. That's the great thing. It's not all about parents' involvement. It's about peers' influence. So he met these kids. The kids said, "Oh, you need to audition for New York Youth Orchestra." So Sean auditioned for Youth Orchestra, right? And then the very next year, I skipped one thing. So he went to the next year, the second year, he went to King Haven. By then, he's a violist. Yeah. So he reluctantly changed his instrument. So the next year, he went to King Haven again, I believe, for another 6 weeks. And then I would go often and to record them. So I do a lot of videos for I did a lot of videos for him and for his friends. Yeah. And so Sean was told to go audition for New York Youth Orchestra. And then when he auditioned, he won. Yeah. And then over there, they said you should audition for Zuckerman, uh, not Zuckerman, sorry, Proman music program. And he got into Proman. Anything he auditioned, he got in. He got into what's the other Heifetz? Yasha Heifetz? Is it called Yasha? Yeah. He got into string program of Manhattan, New York. He got into National Youth Orchestra, 2017. And so what I'm trying to say is all these places that Sean went, it was not because me. I had no clue. These institutions, it's all Sean's friends' influence. So so it's very important to have peer influence, right? Very important. So now after Sean switched to viola, and very next year, because the first year he did not got at Juilliard, and that very next year he got into Juilliard pre-college. Yeah. And studied with also a wonderful teacher, Apple, uh, and and then later on Apple had to retire. So he said, you can look for teachers for next year if you want to. Otherwise, you have to study with my assistant. So now I start to look for teacher again for Sean. And I looked at the list of Juilliard pre-college. And I was like, oh, I know this teacher. I know that teacher. That teacher looks very busy. The other teacher doesn't want to teach. And, this is like I actually approached a very good lady teacher, and she's too busy. So so uh, I picked Carol Rotland. There's few reasons. Carol Rotland, first of all, she's brand new to Juilliard at the time. I believe that's 2018 or 2017. She's brand new. And she studied with my teacher, Kim Kashkashan. She's a very good friend with Kashkashan. And other than that, I don't really know. I saw her playing. I would check her out on YouTube. I saw her recordings. And but I made an effort of enroll to a program she was teaching that summer. She taught at this institution called Karen Tuttle. Karen Tuttle is a method which she and many people, and including Kim Kashkash, and they are all Karen Tuttle students. So Karen Tuttle is like a viola method became, yeah. So I went to New York, NYU to watch her teach with other teachers. So I met her and I said, "Can you give Sean a lesson?" And so she gave Sean a lesson. So it's the best thing. It's the best thing happened to Sean for the last 6 years. So Sean just loves Carol. Every time you ask something to Sean, say, Sean, can you do this? Can you do that? Oh, I need to ask Carol. I need to check with Carol. So he really likes her. And so Carol has a really great influence on Sean, and she trained him very well, very basic things. She retrained him, and she let Sean also to be, himself as well, not too Russian in that sense. Yeah. So I am going to show you a couple of videos of Sean playing, and then we can talk about how he got into Pittsburgh Symphony. So, okay. Oh, by the way, I teach violin in my studio, and I do lots of YouTube. So I show you this YouTube that it's a YouTube Shorts. I do on YouTube Shorts. See, YouTube have three categories. Yeah, video, live. We're doing live right now, and then shorts. So, for instance, I talk about violin method or show other people play the violin. Need to be locked like this all the time, right? Yeah. So there's always a movement here or here. When you play G string, it's okay to tilt your violin a little bit this way. It's easier. Then when you play E string, you're allowed to tilt your violin this way a little bit. Yeah, because it's not comfortable if you play like that. So shorts are as short as what do you call 15 second, as long you can go to 1 minute. Yeah. And I sometimes post Sean. This is a playlist. I sometimes post Sean's performance here, his talk here, my own playing. Let's see. Yeah. And okay. So you can check my YouTube channel and under shorts. It's all about music. Okay. Now, okay. And um so let's see. I am going to find some other videos for you. Oh, uh, let's see. Um, okay, so this is a playlist. Okay. This is a playlist of me teaching. I'm trying to find something else actually. Yeah. Um, this is one of my very a student starting from me in when he was like 4 or 3, and 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 he's very cute. So look. Good. How does it feel?
Good.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Good. Can you let go your hand? Good. Can I count? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's good. That's good. That's a very good
I can
exercise.
do it for 18 seconds.
18 seconds. Oh, good for you. I was counting a little slow, right? You can count a little fast for like 25. So that's a good exercise. Okay, good exercise. So he's still studying with me now. He's doing really well. Yeah, and his name is Sydney. So oops, let me mute that. Yeah, I'm trying to find some of more Sean's playing, and so talk about the journey from 4-year-old to becoming a member of the Pittsburgh Symphony. It is a lot of work, right? It is a lot of work. And I wanted to show you a very dynamic picture. He's on the cover now for Pittsburgh Symphony's brochure, and this is the cover. Can you see it? So this is a Pittsburgh Symphony, their website. Each musician has a profile and their biography. Yeah. So this is if I don't know if you can see the biography. Let me see. Let me check. I just want to make sure we can see it. So it's a very small. It's the I just copied his biography, the total biography, into the description in YouTube channel. Okay. So I'm just gonna read some of it. Violist Sean Juhl joined the Pittsburgh Symphony Orchestra in June of 2022. He has had the privilege of performing as a soloist, chamber musician, and orchestra player in venues around the world, including prestigious locations such as Amsterdam Royal Concertgebouw Hall, London's Roy Albert Hall, New York City's Carnegie Hall, and Salzburg's Grass Festival. In 2021, Ching Juhl was named a London Symphony Orchestra Keston Max Fellow of the Music Academy of the West. Now, Music Academy West is a very prestigious music festival, music camp, and it's very difficult to get in. Once you get in, it's all covered. It's a full scholarship, including like travel. Yeah. So Sean played there for 2018, I believe. Um, so also he played with the London Symphony Orchestra under the baton of Sir Simon Rattle in March 2022. So he went back to the festival, which is in Santa Barbara, California, right? Sean was the first prize winner in the Juilliard School 2019 Viola Concerto competition and made his solo debut with the Juilliard Orchestra at Alice Tully Hall in New York City. Sean also played New York String Orchestra Seminar. Sean served as a principal violist of the Juilliard School from 2019 to 2022 and is an alumni of Carnegie Hall's National Youth Orchestra, USA. In addition to his orchestra career, Sean is also a passionate chamber musician. Okay, so you can read the rest. You just yeah, Sean holds a bachelor of music degree from Juilliard, where he studied with Carol Rodlin. So, but I wanted to talk about difficulties. Okay, this is all kind of very glorious things for people to see. He get this, he get there, but one of the most difficult thing is to practice. Daily practice is so difficult. I remember every day I either pick him up from school or wait for him to come from school, and I'll just wait for him to get ready. You have to hungry and you eat. Oh, go to bathroom for a while. Uh it just list goes on. Tired, oh, take a nap. So every day has different tasks, different excuses to delay the practice process. Now, many parents can relate to that, right? So, in the end, how your children can continue play the music is not just your children, it is you. Are you ready? If the parents are not ready, if the parents cannot handle, uh, that's including taking your kids to have lessons, right? And providing instrument, buying strings, buying sheet music, paying for lessons, yeah, or paying for competitions, traveling. The list goes on and on and on. So I remember every time when Sean has violin lessons, I go since five years old. So Sean had two lessons those days per week. I would go to school, make notes, make recordings, either audio or video. So we have tons of footage of him taking lessons and notes. Yeah. So it's very important because when a child is 4 years old, 5 years old, or even 11 years old, you need someone next to it and hopefully to remind them what the teacher is talking about. Because when I was studying, I recall myself, those days we just have a little cassette tape, right? I recall myself. So it's very, very important to recall, okay, your lessons and make notes. And nowadays, when I give lessons, I make notes for my students. Yeah, I make notes. So they gave me their book. I make notes. I make very quick notes, not like a long sentences, just like outlines. So practice is one thing, right? And then exposure, exposure, exposure. Take your child to music events, okay? Serious ones, casual ones, home concert, Carnegie Hall, you name it, any. You need to go to live performance. Now, these days, we're also very different from 10 years ago, 15 years ago. People watch YouTube. That's great. God bless you. God bless YouTube. But watching something on your screen is so different from watching someone live. When you go see someone live, you get the energy. You hopefully you get closer to reach to see. This is a three dimension when you watch someone live, or maybe four dimensions. Yeah, and you hear the sound is so much better. Yeah, so very very important. Okay, now go back to the orchestra thing. One of the very difficult thing for lots of string players is that a lot of string players, violinists, they want to be soloist, right? So playing orchestra may not be their first choice, but as violist, there's very few soloists can make a living by playing the viola. So you need to play orchestra. So that means you need to start to practice orchestral excerpts, all these standard ones, Dan Huang, Mendelssohn, Beethoven, Mozart, yeah, and Strauss and Shostakovich. There's a whole list, probably five to 10 pages things you need to learn. You need to memorize them. So Sean started to practice those things very, very early. Like I would say probably because he has to audition for these youth orchestras, so he has to learn these. Yeah. So Sean learned all of these things quite early. Not like me, I did not know any orchestra excerpts until I graduated from graduate school. So so Sean's very lucky also. He we went to I drove him to well, the reason he actually auditioned for Pittsburgh, he said, I just wanted to have experience. So he did not give himself a whole lot of time to prepare. He just like kids, they always do last thing, right? Last minute, right? So he just like filling the form probably the last few hours, because they have deadlines, a few hours he got in. So then he practiced and practiced, and then we went to, I think the audition was November, yeah, end of November of 2021. And the good thing was when he was at the Academy of West, he had a really good training there, playing orchestra excerpts. So he did very good job, and he won the scholarship to the Max scholarship, right? Keston Max. So he already has some exposures of playing very well, playing with the London Symphony and playing with the other orchestras. So, but he never really anticipated himself winning anything, winning a major orchestra. So we went to Pittsburgh in end of November and went through this very rigorous audition process. First of all, people in general send a tape to the orchestra. I don't think Sean needs to send a tape because he just needs to provide like a recommendation letters, which he had very nice recommendation letters from some famous violists whom he studied with, like Cynthia Phillips, which is she's a principal violist of the New York Philharmonic. Sean also got a recommendation letter from Karen Dreyfus, and she taught Sean at the Music Academy of West. And I believe Sean also got a recommendation from Sean's own teacher, Carol Rutland. So so Sean was, it was in the good hands. And so he played first round, and then he had to wait many, many hours. I made a whole video about that. Yeah. And then he has to wait for a long time. And then he played the second round. First round is behind the screen. You play second round, they open the screen. Um then after he plays second round, I think he had to wait till next day because we don't even know how. Like, should we book a hotel for 1 day or 2 day? Because we do not know we're gonna make it, right? We were thinking, okay, if we just play first round, we're going home, right? So all of these things you have to consider when people fly there. We drove there. When people fly, are you flying in today? You stay till the end, because you don't know you're gonna make it. So we drove there, and then so Sean made it to the last run, and I think he played at around like 7 p.m. And then he waited. He waited. He said it was really weird. They waited in the room for like nobody talks. There's like five or six or seven people sit there, and then until 10:30 or 10:35, and the conductor. is Hornek, and he came in and he walked to Sean. He shook hands with Sean, and Sean was thinking maybe he'll say, "Oh, we'll offer you a substitute position." Yeah, but Sean couldn't even like believe, he got it. So that was pretty surreal. Yeah. Anyway, so let me find you some performance of Sean. Do you guys have any questions for me? Uh, doing okay here. Sitting in lessons and taking video. Oh yeah, yeah, sitting in lessons and taking video. So let me see. Oh, okay, okay, okay. Yeah, I see something. I'll share something, okay, with you. Let me know if you have any questions. Um, so I made this whole pile of videos. Okay, so this is a very interesting. We don't like to practice. Okay, so this is a video I made. This is the first video after I went to NYU to study video and broadcast. I know how to do editing. Before that, I just keep shooting and shooting. I shot a lot of videos. I had no idea how to edit. So this is the first video I edited. It's a little choppy and little, scratchy, but the subject is very interesting because I went to Sean's class. They're all studying music. I recorded them, and so the whole piece is called practice. So they just don't really like to practice. So I'll just show you a little bit, okay? Not the whole thing. I think the whole thing is 18 minutes. Yeah. So you can see these kids.
Tararam pam pam tararam. Hey, together. 1, 2, 3. What? Sean, I don't have words. How many times we did it? What are you doing? What are you doing? Why are you doing like this? Do you remember how to do it? Why you are not doing correctly? Again. 1, 2, 3.
Time to get up. Sean, time to practice. Sean, get your butt over here. One, 2, 3. Okay.
We are a public school with a private partner. The New York City Department of Education founded us in 1996.
I said stand up.
But you are.
I am your mother.
It's not fair.
Well, you are 8 years old. I'm not 8 years old.
Yes, you are.
If I am A team, I'll stand up. Let's count. Okay, I'll clap the first one. You imitate me, okay? Watch. Go. No, that's not good.
I also think about it like the Roadrunner cartoon when the sheepdog was after him, and they battle it out and they fight. At the end of the day, they punch the clock and they say, "Good night, Fred. Good night, Sam. Okay, it's over." And my wife, at the end of it, just listening in the room, is all upset. And Augie and I are like, "Okay, that was good practice. All right, we'll do it again tomorrow night." All right, you know.
It's the same rhythm. Back, go back.
Practice, but they just want to look good and say yes. But some people, they really do like it. And those people are freaks. But the people who don't like practice are cool. Because they have a right brain.
That is a very funny phrase. Like he said, people who like to practice, they're not, they have a brain problems, So that's he does not want that phrase into this film. So I said that's pretty funny. So let's leave it there. Yeah. So eventually, where was I? So Sean won the Pittsburgh Symphony, and it is not. It's a combination of him had a really great training, and also I think ultimately he really become very, very, Chinese words called 专研. He's very into it gradually. He is a very good musician, not just to win something. He really is a good musician. He practiced diligently. Right now, these days, I would say, "Hey, what are you doing right now?" "Oh, mom, I have to go practice." And when I was visiting him in Pittsburgh, I said, "Okay, let's do this, let's do that." He always say, "Mom, I need to practice." So he practiced a lot even now. Yeah. And I think hopefully your children eventually, if they don't like to practice, eventually they will realize how important it is to practice. And it's not they practicing for their parents or for their teacher. They're practicing for themselves. They're practicing for the sake of music. Yeah. So that's very important. Anybody else have any questions? I can answer. So please, if you like this live program, please share it, and please look at the bottom. There's a description, and please subscribe my YouTube channel. I do live interviews once a week, sometimes twice a week. So pretty much every Wednesday afternoon, 5 o'clock, I interview an artist. So back to a little bit about myself. So after I moved to New York, I played string trio, and I had a Sean. I started to video more and more things about Sean, about his friends' recital. And then gradually I started to video other events, lead to I was involved with this grassroots movement supporting Andrew Yan in 2019. And lately, my movie, I made a feature documentary called My Yangon Diary. And that documentary actually is available on Tubi TV and also on Amazon Prime. So you guys can check it out. You can look at my description in the YouTube description for the title, My Yan Gan Diary. Let's see. So I think the successful of a musician or a person has multiple reasons, multiple effects. One is they need to have very good parental, I guess, a parental guide. Then they need to have good teacher, right? In however discipline you have. And then I would say peers influence is very important. And also you need to have realistic expectations. If your child like to play music or love music, that's great. But if they are very good at the other area, like science or sports or any subject, yeah, and music can still, you can still learn music, but can be a hobby or can be a music appreciation, right? Because musicians, world of music needs fans. We need fans. We need people appreciate us. So being a good fan, being a good appreciator is just as important. Yeah. So I was also going to say, yeah, I was going to tell you the difficulties also. Nowadays, social media is a huge distraction. Yeah, and also, I remember when Sean was 5 or 6 years old, he got a gift, a Game Boy gift. Yeah, and he started to play that thing, and then later on, he got another gift. It's like what do you call a bigger, a bigger thing. I don't even know how to call it. So it's just slowly he started to build his own computer where he can play gaming. And so he played games so well. His friend said to me, his high school friend said to me, in very shortly, Sean will become a professional video gamer. And I didn't even know, what is a professional video gamer meant. So it was very frustrating at so many times. I just want to quit. So many times I want to like throw his violin, out of the window. And that was like, oh, I should not do that. I have to go buy one anyway. I should not throw it away. So, but I guess parents, if there's a lot of parents listening and you need to hang in there, um, if you quit and then the whole thing, you know, will quit. So parents involvement, parents patience, educate yourself as well. And you need to love music. You don't want to have your children to study music just because you think music will give them more credits when they go to college or some other reasons. It's great they can get extra curriculum, but I think the essence of loving music is so important. And if the parent loves music and they are going to influence their children, their child, right? So loving music is the most important thing. And you'll say, how do I love music? You just have to listen. You listen to music and you get yourself exposed, and hopefully you'll love it, right? If you don't listen to music, you don't know what is if you never eat, say, Italian great, pasta dish, if you don't never eat it, you wouldn't even liking it, because you have never exposed. So exposure, 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 so important. Yeah. So let me see if I can share with you another video of Sean's playing and we can wrap up. Let me find our playlist. Okay. So, oh, this is a very good video. When you applying for National New York Youth Orchestra in
What would my most memorable
2016, Sean said something really nice. You have to give the orchestra a video of 1 minute, your testimony. So this is a very nice video.
would my most memorable musical experience be? I would have to say playing Beethoven 9 with New York Youth Symphony in Carnegie Hall in March of 2015. We had a full orchestra and a 200-person chorus and 4 amazing soloists. And I mean, it was one of the most amazing things I've ever witnessed, because you have to realize Beethoven was deaf when he wrote this. And as I was playing along, it was just this tidal wave of sound that was going out from both myself and the people behind me and the people in the back, and it was incredible because the entire audience was just enraptured. No one was making a sound, and I didn't want it to end. And I mean, it did, but the ending was amazing, and the audience clapped for maybe 10 minutes, and it was one of the best experiences of my life. And I said to myself, I want to do this. I want to do this for the rest of my life. And this is why I'm trying out for NYO.
Oh, okay. So yeah, it just goes to the next video. This video is Sean playing a community event. The audio is not great, but he played a Paganini Caprices number 13 on the viola, which is very virtuoso. So I'll play you a little bit, okay? Um, So yeah, I'm just playing you just the excerpts of it, not the whole thing. I'm not particularly too impressed about the audio on this one. And this Stamm's viola concerto, then he played 2 years ago in a studio. It's a very well recorded excerpts. So he played a cadenza of this classical viola concerto called Stamets. It's a nice work. Hi, Sean. How are you feeling? Can you guys hear me? I click on the mute, so I wasn't sure if you can hear me. So I show you one last excerpts about Sean. He and we had a little talk after he played with the Pittsburgh Symphony, and
It always helps to have supportive parents, because I don't think that, yeah, I would not have continued doing music past like 13 or something if it wasn't for you. So yeah, it takes a lot of effort, but it's definitely doable.
now during this time in Juilliard, what are the few courses, subject you really enjoy taking other than viola lessons?
I mean, yeah, I think my ear training classes were really nice. I think I learned a lot and progressed a lot. And also some of my history courses were really nice, especially in the last couple of years. In conversations with some people from the symphony, and who sort of like walked me through some of the doubts I was having, and just maybe some of the fears and stuff. But it really is like the culmination of what I wanted to do. Like the whole reason I came to Juilliard was to join an orchestra, basically. And I know it's a very lucky situation that I found myself in to actually be able to do that. But it was really special just to hear them, the sound of the group together, and especially to get to play such like awesome pieces like Mahler 1 or Rock 3 with soloist who was amazing. I had my mask on for some of the concerts, but it was just like I was smiling the whole time because it's just
So yeah, Sean is a very soft spoken person. He's very down to earth, and he's not how do I say? Yeah, he's very low key guy. Yeah, very low key guy. So I said I was going to show you last thing, right? Actually, this I want to just show you. When you get a chance, please take a look at my Facebook. I teach violin, I teach viola, I teach different things. This is a music studio Manhattan. That's what I teach when I'm not making film and videos. So this is the Facebook page. You can see this is Sean's performance you just heard, and then this is today's session. I talk about music. Yeah. Oh, this is I don't know if you can see it. This is a piece I played a long time ago. Um, the audio is not very good here through streaming and double stream and stuff like that. So anyway, when you get a chance, please take a look of my Facebook page called Music Studio Manhattan, and I teach violin and viola. Now, okay, great. And so thank you so much for being with me, and I really appreciate. Oh, YouTube time. No, you can go on if you want to. So YouTube would not stop you. But I think when you set a time to streaming, maybe Facebook will stop. But they don't really. Yeah. Thank you so much, Tutu 100 and Vivian. Hi, Miriam. How are you? Thank you for coming. And let's see who else. And thank you, Dr. J. Thank you, Shark Fan. Thank you guys for supporting my channel. And yeah, so if you have any questions, just drop me a line on YouTube and I will answer to you. And yeah, to maybe make some comments in the YouTube section, right? Right now we're in the chat section right now, so you can make some comment after we finish and at the YouTube. So yeah, I'll answer questions if I can answer your question, and I will. Yeah. All right. So we are ending. I'm gonna end actually with Sean's playing a piece, and it's called, what is it called? UNESCO, UNESCO concert piece, and it's a very very flashy piece. Oh, it's not in this. Never mind. Okay, it's in a different thing. Oh, here we go. Concert piece by George UNESCO. Okay, so I am I'm gonna re-enter this. Right. Great. You can watch that on your own time. I don't want to hold you too long. We've been here for 1 hour 40 minutes, and thank you so much for being with me. And Sean will be very grateful for your listening. So until next time, and have a great evening if you are in New York area or Eastern timing. And yeah, so I'll see you guys some other time. All right. Thank you, Shakfan. Thank you, Miriam. Thank you, everybody. Tutu. Yeah. So I'm gonna say goodbye. Hi, someone. Thank you so much for watching us, for being so supportive, and yeah, I really appreciate you guys. Okay. Well, take care. Bye now. 谢谢。